6. Signs of a woman who wants to sleep with you. Let's talk about something real, not fantasy, not games, something deeper, something every man has thought about but few are willing to speak on without masks. I'm talking about desire. More specifically, I'm talking about those quiet, curious, electric moments when you ask yourself, does she want me not in the shallow way, the did I say the right line kind of way, but in that deeper, instinctive, unmistakable way, the way where her body, her eyes, her energy says something her words may never admit. Most men obsess over signs, but I'll tell you this straight, if you have to ask whether a woman wants to sleep with you, you're probably not ready for the answer, because desire is not loud. It's not a billboard, it's a whisper, and only men who have trained themselves to be still, to be grounded, to be present, those are the men who hear it clearly. Now, you came here for 6 signs a woman wants to sleep with you, and you'll get them. But let me give you something better first, a mirror. See? Before you look at her behavior, you have to look at yourself. A woman responds to presence, not performance. Not pretending, presence. She doesn't give herself to a man who's chasing approval. She gives herself to a man who already carries a sense of certainty, not arrogance, not ego, but clarity. She's not pulled toward the man who needs her. She's drawn to the one who doesn't need anything but chooses everything with intention. That's the difference. That's the essence. That's the Stoic way. So if you're here thinking you're going to walk away with a checklist to decode women like some kind of emotional puzzle, let me stop you now. This isn't about tactics. This isn't about tricks. This is about truth. This is about learning to see clearly. Because when a woman truly wants you not for attention, not for validation, but because your presence awakens something in her, she doesn't always say it, but she shows it in subtle, sacred, powerful ways. And the signs, they're real. They're everywhere, but only if you've trained your mind to observe without projecting your own desires onto every moment. So I say this not as a teacher, but as a man who's walked the fire and felt the silence. Don't focus on chasing signs. Focus on becoming a man who naturally attracts them. A woman's desire isn't a prize. It's a response to who you are when you're fully grounded, fully present, fully alive. These signs are not steps to seduction, they're signals of alignment. And the more aligned you are, the clearer they become. So let's talk. Let's go deep. Let's strip away the ego, the hunger, the noise, and get to the truth. The first sign, she seeks your solitude, but we'll get to that. Stay with me. Sign 1. She seeks your solitude. So here's the first sign, and listen carefully, because it's subtle, and most men miss it. When a woman truly wants to be with you, not just casually, not just politely, but with intention, she'll look for a moment to get you alone. I'm not talking about her dragging you off into a bedroom or anything dramatic like that. No, it's quieter than that. It's more refined. She removes the noise around you. She makes space, even if it's just a few seconds of privacy in the middle of a crowd. You'll notice it in how she leans in when she talks to you, how she pulls you away from the group ever so slightly, how her attention narrows down and the world fades away when she speaks to you. That's not random. That's not accidental. That's intention. And the Stoic man knows how to spot intention. He doesn't need a woman to scream her desire. He notices how she shows it in energy, not just in words. So when she seeks your solitude, when she tries to carve out a small pocket of silence just for you and her, even in a room full of people, that's a sign, not of desperation, not of need, but of focus. And desire often begins with focus. She wants to feel you more directly. Not the version of you you present to the group, not the social you, the real you, the you who speaks slower when the noise dies down, The you who stops performing because there's no one left to impress. She wants to know what it feels like to be in your world, not just orbit around it. And here's the truth, a woman only seeks that space with a man she's already curious about on a deeper level. Now, don't misunderstand. This doesn't mean every woman who wants to talk to you privately wants to sleep with you. No, that's ego talking. This is about how she does it, the frequency of it, the way she watches the group drift away like it doesn't matter, the way she draws you into a more personal rhythm, more honest, more intimate, without ever saying the words. It's not about what's said, it's about where it's said and how it feels. Because when a woman wants more than surface, she looks for space where the surface falls away. That's the solitude she seeks. And if you're too distracted chasing signs, you'll miss the fact that the sign is already happening. She's choosing to share a moment, just the two of you. So the Stoic man, he doesn't jump in and try to force the next step. He simply notices. He holds his frame. He listens. He observes without rushing, without needing. Because here's the thing, when a woman seeks solitude with a man, it's not an accident. It's a signal. She wants to feel your essence without the noise. And if you can give her stillness, if you can meet her in that moment with grounded presence instead of eager pursuit, you'll unlock a connection that no amount of clever lines or flashy confidence could ever achieve. That's the first sign. She seeks your solitude, quietly, intentionally, repeatedly. And if you're wise enough to recognize that, you're already ahead of 90% of men. Sign 2, she mirrors your masculinity. Now listen, this one is powerful if you can see it. When a woman is drawn to your masculine energy, truly drawn to it, she starts to mirror it. Not in a way that mimics or competes, but in a way that balances and complements. This is not about her becoming masculine. No, this is about polarity. When your presence is firm, calm, intentional, and grounded, her natural feminine energy begins to soften in response. You'll see it in her body language. Her posture opens. Her voice slows down or gets playful. Her laughter comes easier, and she might touch her hair, tilt her head slightly, lean into your space with a kind of trust that says, I feel safe here. This is not performance, it's instinct. It's a reaction to a man who is rooted in who he is. See? A Stoic man doesn't chase reactions. He notices them. And this is key. You have to be able to tell the difference between a woman performing femininity for attention and one naturally sinking into it around you. Because your masculine energy gave her something solid to rest against. You become the structure, the stillness, and she becomes the movement, the expression. It's a dance, but you're not trying to lead her by force. You lead by being fully present. No rush, no agenda, just clear, intentional energy. And here's what's wild: when a woman starts to mirror your masculinity, it's rarely loud. It's subtle. It's how she plays with contrast. Her voice gets warmer. Her tone becomes more emotional, more expressive. She might tease you in a light, almost childlike way, not to challenge your authority, but to see if you're centered enough to handle the moment without flinching. She mirrors your calm by becoming more expressive. She mirrors your control by letting go a little. And that's the beauty of it. It's not about domination. It's about resonance. And that's what most men miss. They think attraction is something they have to force, or win, or spark with tricks. But the truth is, a woman is always watching how you hold yourself. And if you're unshaken, if you don't need to prove anything, if you stay in your energy without chasing hers, she feels that deeply. She may not even understand why she's suddenly laughing more, standing closer, or opening up emotionally. But her body knows, her intuition knows. She feels safe to soften. And that softness is one of the clearest signs she's not just interested, she's drawn to you. But again, don't get cocky. Don't assume. Just observe. Let her come closer. Let her mirror you without rushing it. Because the minute you start trying to push it, you step out of your frame and she'll feel that too. So hold your energy. Stay calm. Stay clear. If she's mirroring your masculinity, she's not just intrigued, she's preparing herself for something more. She's exploring what it feels like to be in your orbit. And if she likes how that feels, things can escalate fast, but only if you keep your center. That's the Stoic advantage. You lead not by force, but by presence. Sign 3. She touches without necessity. Now here's where things get physical, but not in the way you might think. When a woman wants you, truly wants you, she'll find little excuses to make contact, not because she has to, but because she wants to. And here's the part most guys miss. It's not about what the touch is. It's about why it happens. She doesn't need to brush your arm when she laughs. She doesn't need to rest her hand on your shoulder while she's making a point. She doesn't need to stand just a little closer than necessary when she's beside you, but she does it anyway. And that's the key. Touch without necessity. That's the sign. And no, I'm not talking about accidental contact. This is deliberate, subtle, intuitive. Her body is telling you something her mouth doesn't need to say. It's saying, I feel safe around you. It's saying, I like being close to you. Sometimes it's playful. She might nudge you, tease you, tap your chest when she's laughing. Other times, it's slower, more delicate fingers that linger when she hands you something, a palm on your back when she walks past, legs that brush against yours under the table and don't pull away. These are signals, but only if you're calm enough to notice. A man who's desperate will grab at these moments. He'll rush, misread, and push too fast. But a man who's grounded, he sees the touch for what it is, an invitation, not a command. He doesn't leap. He leans back. He stays composed. See, the Stoic understands that touch is a language. It speaks before words do. And when she touches you without needing to, when her hand finds its way to your knee or her fingers trace a line across your wrist while she's talking, it's not by accident. It's comfort. It's curiosity. It's desire dressed in subtlety. But here's the truth you need to hear. Not every touch means she's ready for the next level. Sometimes, she's just feeling out your energy, seeing how you react, testing to see if you're in control or if you crumble at the first sign of intimacy. That's why presence matters. That's why your stillness is your strength. You don't chase the moment, you hold it. You don't read into everything, you feel it. She will touch you when she wants to know what your energy feels like up close. If you're calm, if you're solid, she'll trust that closeness. And when she trusts that closeness, intimacy becomes a natural next step, not something you force, but something you both lean into. So don't get loud about it. Don't get weird. Don't react like a boy who's just been touched for the first time. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to witness it, to receive it, to read it with the same calm that makes her feel safe touching you in the first place. Remember, real attraction doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself. One quiet signal at a time, and touch is one of the clearest, if you're paying attention. So yeah, she touches without necessity. That's not just comfort, that's intent. Sign 4. She shares vulnerability freely. All right, this one right here. This one separates casual interest from something deeper. When a woman starts opening up to you, really opening up, sharing pieces of her life, she doesn't throw around loosely, talking about her fears, her past, her pain, her dreams, the stuff that actually matters, that's not small talk. That's vulnerability. And I need you to understand something. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is intimacy. It's trust. It's her quietly saying, I feel safe enough around you to let the mask down. And that safety, that emotional exposure, that's one of the strongest signs. She's not only attracted to you, but she's starting to connect with you in a way that makes physical intimacy almost inevitable. Because emotional intimacy is the real doorway. See? A woman doesn't just give herself physically to a man she finds attractive. She gives herself to a man who feels like a safe place to land. And when she starts talking to you about things that matter, things that hurt, things that shaped her, it's because she's looking to see what kind of man she's letting into her space. The Stoic man. He doesn't flinch when someone opens up to him. He listens. He holds space. He doesn't interrupt with stories of his own to steal the spotlight. He doesn't try to fix her emotions like it's a job. He receives what she shares with presence and calm. That alone builds a connection so powerful, so rare, that she begins to feel something no pickup line could ever trigger trust. And trust is the foundation of all real intimacy. You want to know if she wants you? Watch what she tells you when she thinks you're really listening. Not the surface stuff, not what she does for work or what show she's binge watching. I'm talking about when she tells you about her family issues, her insecurities, the things she's afraid to say out loud in most rooms. That's sacred. And if she gives that to you, you don't throw it away by trying to turn the moment into a move. You honor it. Because here's the truth: once a woman feels deeply seen, once she feels emotionally safe, her body naturally follows. Desire grows in presence, not in pressure. But here's the warning: don't fake empathy just to get closer. She'll feel that too. This isn't about pretending to care. It's about actually being there, actually listening, actually respecting what she's trusting you with. A woman who's being vulnerable with you is not weak. She's testing the depth of your masculinity, not your bravado, not your charm, your strength, your ability to handle her truth without judgment, without trying to twist it, without needing to turn it into a transaction. And if you can hold that space, not only do you show her the kind of man you are, you create a bridge between emotional connection and physical closeness that almost always leads to intimacy. Not because you pushed for it, but because you earned it. So if she starts sharing stories she doesn't tell everyone, if she gets real with you about her wounds, her doubts, her life, don't miss it. That's not just conversation. That's connection. That's depth. That's a woman who's opening the door. The only question is, are you grounded enough to walk through it with respect? Sign 5. She challenges you playfully. Now this one might catch you off guard if you're not paying attention, because a lot of guys mistake it for rejection when really, it's attraction in disguise. I'm talking about playful challenge. When a woman starts teasing you, poking at you, throwing little jabs, not mean, not disrespectful, but just enough to test your balance. She's not pushing you away. She's checking your strength. She's seeing if you're centered, if you're solid, or if you're going to crumble the second your ego takes a hit. And most guys, they get defensive. They try to prove something. They get thrown off by the banter. But the Stoic man, he smiles, he plays back, he stays grounded, because he knows exactly what's happening. She's feeling the tension. She's leaning into the attraction. And she wants to see if the man in front of her can handle a little heat without losing his cool. See? Playful challenge is the feminine way of testing your masculine frame. Not because she wants to dominate you, but because she wants to trust you. She wants to know she can relax around you, that you're not fragile, that you won't fall apart when things get a little wild or emotional or unpredictable. So when she makes fun of your shirt, or jokingly says you think you're all that, or laughs at how you order your coffee or the way you pronounce something, don't take it personally. Don't react like a boy. Receive it like a man. Lean into it. Laugh. Match the energy without trying to win the moment. She's not attacking you. She's dancing with you. And if you know how to dance with that kind of energy, If you can handle the push without pushing back too hard, if you can stay calm, playful, and a little bit cheeky, that's when the magic happens. Because a woman who feels safe to play feels safe to open up, and a woman who feels safe to open up, she's not far from letting intimacy unfold. But you have to remember, this isn't a competition. This is resonance. She's not looking for you to dominate her in conversation. She's looking to see if you can handle her fire without burning out. If you can laugh at yourself, if you're self-aware, if you have the emotional strength to handle a strong woman without being threatened by her spark. The Stoic doesn't flinch. He doesn't defend. He doesn't overcompensate. He enjoys the moment for what it is. A signal that she's leaning in, that she's interested, that she's testing the waters to see if this man in front of her is as sot as he seems. And if you pass that test not by winning, but by not needing to win, that's when her energy shifts. That's when the tension starts to build. That's when she starts looking at you not just with curiosity, but with desire. So next time she throws a playful jab, don't get shaken. Stay cool. Smile. Let her feel that you're not going anywhere, that you can handle her storm and stay rooted, that you don't need control to feel powerful, because if she's challenging you playfully, she's not pushing you away, she's pulling you in, waiting to see if you're strong enough to stay. Sign 6. She makes herself beautiful around you. This one, while often overlooked, is one of the clearest behavioral indicators of genuine attraction, particularly when viewed through a Stoic lens of measured observation and emotional detachment. When a woman is drawn to a man, she typically begins to present herself with heightened attention to appearance, not out of superficiality, but as a form of non-verbal signaling. This act is not always conscious, but it is intentional. She adjusts her hair more frequently when you're around. She might wear perfume she didn't wear the day before, or she dresses in a way that feels just slightly more elevated when she knows she'll be in your presence. These shifts, though subtle, are deliberate. They serve as a way of saying, "I value how I appear in your eyes," without explicitly stating it. And that matters, because effort in appearance, when unsolicited, is rarely wasted on someone a woman has no emotional interest in. Now, it's essential to distinguish between a woman who takes care of herself generally and a woman who changes the way she presents specifically around you. One is about personal pride. The other is about directed interest. When you start noticing patterns, she wears her hair differently when she knows she'll see you. She picks a dress that complements her figure more clearly when you're involved. Or she pays closer attention to the small aesthetic details. Those are micro-adjustments that speak volumes. They're not about vanity, they're about presence, yours. The Stoic perspective teaches us that beauty, while fleeting, is a form of attention. It's where someone chooses to invest care, time, and intentionality. And when she invests that energy into how she appears when you're around, it's a silent gesture of desire. But what matters here isn't just her behavior, it's your reaction. The undisciplined man rushes to interpret every change in appearance as seduction. He inflates his ego, projects fantasies, and loses his center. The Stoic man, however, recognizes the signal, acknowledges it without attachment, and continues to observe. He neither assumes nor ignores. He respects the gesture without becoming consumed by it. Because true masculinity isn't swayed by beauty, it appreciates it without being distracted. So when you notice her making herself beautiful, not just in general, but specifically when you're nearby, understand it for what it is. She is preparing herself to be seen by you. That kind of preparation is often a precursor to physical intimacy, not because she's offering herself, but because she is aligning herself with the possibility. She is saying, without words, "I want to be desired by you." And that's the key, not just to be noticed by anyone, but by the man whose presence affects her enough to inspire beauty. That's not random. That's not common. That's a signal, a strong one. But remember, her beauty is not an invitation to act. It's an invitation to be present. If she's making herself beautiful around you, let that be a reflection of the energy you're giving off, your discipline, your strength, your clarity. Because when a woman feels your presence, your calm, your grounded masculinity, she naturally wants to respond in the most instinctive way she knows how, by enhancing her own femininity in your orbit. So yes, if she's doing her hair a certain way, if her makeup is more refined, if her dress seems chosen rather than random, if her scent lingers longer when you pass by, that's not accidental. That's a sign. But what you do with that sign, that's where the man reveals himself. All right. Let's bring it all together with the greater truth. She wants to sleep with the man you are being. And as always, I'll keep it flowing, steady, like a real conversation, no script, just truth. Here's the part most men never get to. They chase signs. They collect gestures. They analyze every glance and every text like it's a secret code, but they miss the one thing that matters most. She doesn't want to sleep with your lines, your looks, your car, or your image. She wants to sleep with the man you are being, not the mask you wear, not the role you play. The actual, grounded, present, real version of you. And if that version is chaotic, desperate, unsure, looking for approval, hiding behind ego, she might flirt, she might tease, she might even entertain you for a while. But when it comes to deep, true, raw desire, she'll pass. Because a woman, especially one who's in touch with her feminine energy, doesn't open up to a man who's not in control of himself. She might be attracted to the surface, sure, but she only surrenders to the man who's mastered his inner world. That's why this whole thing isn't about decoding her behavior. It's about understanding your presence. Every single sign we've talked about, whether she seeks your solitude, mirrors your energy, touches you, opens up emotionally, challenges you playfully, or dresses beautifully in your presence, all of that is a reflection of how she feels when she's around you. She's not responding to what you say, she's responding to how she feels in your space. That's the real signal. And that's why most men miss it. They're too busy trying to manipulate the moment instead of becoming the kind of man who naturally creates that moment just by showing up. A woman doesn't decide to sleep with you because you impressed her. She decides to sleep with you because she trusts you, because you make her feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically, because in your presence, she feels more like herself, not less. And trust me, no amount of strategy or style can replace that. That's something you become, not something you borrow. So stop asking, does she want me, and start asking, who am I being when she's around? Because if you're needy, she'll feel it. If you're faking confidence, she'll sense it. But if you're still, centered, living from purpose, grounded in your own frame, she won't just notice you. She'll be drawn to you. And if the desire is mutual, if the alignment is there, intimacy will happen naturally, not forced, not chased, just aligned. This is the Stoic truth. Attraction is not something you earn by trying harder. It's something that rises when you become more present, more disciplined, more honest. Women aren't looking for perfect, they're looking for real. So don't get caught up in decoding every look or message. Become the kind of man who doesn't need to ask. Become the kind of man whose energy speaks louder than his words. And when you do that, you won't need signs. You'll already know. Great. Let's bring this home. Here's the conclusion, Eros. Ego and equanimity. The final reflection to close the message with Stoic wisdom and grounded inspiration spoken directly, fluidly, like a final talk between men. So now we're here at the end, or maybe the beginning, depending on how you see it. We've talked about the signs, we've broken them down, but if you've really been listening, then you already know this wasn't about women. It was about you. Every look, every touch, every shift in her energy was never about decoding her behavior. It was always about revealing yours. You came here looking for signs that she wants you. But if you're walking away with clarity, you're not asking that question anymore. You're asking something better. You're asking, am I the kind of man she could want and even more? Am I the kind of man who doesn't need her want to define my worth? That's the Stoic posture. That's equanimity. That's emotional stillness. See? Attraction isn't a prize. It's a response. And it's not something to chase, it's something to allow. When you stop needing attention, you start attracting presence. When you stop performing, you start revealing. When you stop chasing desire, you start embodying it. And that's when women start to feel something different in your presence. Not pressure, not hunger, not need, just calm, confidence, direction. She can feel when a man is not there to take from her, but to simply be with her. That's rare, that's powerful, and that's unforgettable. But you don't get there by accident. You get there by mastering your mind, by checking your ego, by choosing discipline over distraction, by walking into every moment not needing to be noticed, but ready to be known. And here's the final truth: the man who lives like that doesn't obsess over who wants to sleep with him, because he knows deep down that if it happens as an extension of alignment, not desperation. He doesn't force it. He doesn't chase it. He doesn't take it personally when it doesn't come, because he's already full. He's already whole. And when a woman feels that kind of energy, she responds to it in a way no game, no script, no trick can ever replicate. So let this be your practice, not to chase signs, but to become so aligned that the signs find you. Let your silence speak louder than your words. Let your eyes say more than your lines. Let your grounded presence be your strongest signal. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." So don't ask if she wants you. Be the man she can want. But more importantly, be the man you respect, even when no one is watching. That's the work. That's the way. That's the power.